Hi, this is Kathie with Craft with Kathie. Thanks for joining me this evening. I'm coming at you from the suburbs west of Chicago. Drop me a line, let me know where you're viewing from this evening. So tonight's project is going to be adding some bling to the henna pumpkins, and I'm also going to show you how you can save some money using your chalk paste. Basically stretch your chalk paste budget. It's easier than it sounds, and I've actually done it on this project. I've previously painted my cutouts with chalk paste. I watered down my chalk paste and painted them different colors. I previously used these cutouts to create the jack-o'-lanterns on one side, so that's perfectly suited for Halloween. And I have now painted the other side, and I'm going to be using the henna transfer to make a display suitable for fall. So once Halloween's over, I'll just flip them around and I'll be good to go. How simple is that, really? So I'm gonna put these aside. I've got the small one is kind of like a brown tone, and the medium is a little bit of a little peachy, almost kind of I don't know, slight, very light orange, kind of more of like a pumpkin, but it's actually from the rust. And then of course I've got the green. This is the henna transfer. Aren't these designs absolutely awesome? I'm going to take this out of its packaging and actually cut it apart. So simple, so easy. The design will be so clear and intricate because the transfers are made out of vinyl and silkscreen. So there's absolutely no weeding that you would have to do for this. Just basically take it out of the package, fuzz it a bit, and go to town with it. That's simple. So I'm going to cut them apart on the cut lines. As you can see, there's 4 individual images here. Our transfers are made out of vinyl, which is the teal portion, and silkscreen. And actually the white is where you're seeing through the silkscreen to the back or behind the transfer. Our transfers are adhesive backed and reusable. Cleanup is easy. Our chalk paste is water soluble, so you can clean up with water, and the same with the transfers. Sometimes I use a little board eraser to clean my transfers, especially if it's more pigmented paste that I'm using. But really it's simple. Run them over to the sink, use a spray or use your fingers, board eraser if you want. Just rinse all the paste off of both sides. Quick, simple, and easy. Now if you wanted to do something that would be permanent, you might want to use our ink instead of our paste. Our ink, when applied to fabric or ceramic or glass, needs to be heat set, but once it is, it's permanent. If you put it on a t-shirt, there's no issue with the vinyl pulling up after washing and drying, etc. after so many wears. The ink is actually into the fabric and it's permanent. It does not lift or peel off at all. So the ink is great for a permanent project or for surfaces that are going to be washed. Otherwise, use our chalk paste, and on many surfaces you could actually remove the paste and reuse the surface. Now, as I've painted these previously using chalk paste, I'm going to apply a bit of our surface wax to act somewhat as a sealant before I apply additional paste to it. So I'm just taking some of my surface wax out of the container, rubbing it onto my surface, and then I'm just going to leave it for a moment and then rub it off. I'm using a paper towel. Actually our wax applicators work great. I just didn't have any handy when I started this project. The idea behind putting a barrier or the surface wax on the surface once you've painted is so that when you would apply additional chalk paste, which would be liquid, it hadn't dried yet, to the surface, you don't want to reactivate or moisten the previous layer and get it to blur anything. So the surface wax takes care of that issue. You rub the paste off, or you rub it in, you'll start feeling, it'll feel a little bit smoother and a little bit kind of like it's gliding. I've got a little bit of crumbles here, so let me just wipe them off. Okay, and you could actually, I could see where I missed a little bit. Let me get some wax up here and get my stem. Okay, so waxing is pretty easy. So let me tell you how I actually color these pumpkins. I have my meadow green, my bark brown, and my rust. And these are the colors that I'm going to use to apply the designs to my surfaces. However, being a little frugal sometimes is a good idea. So I took my bright white paste and mixed it with the rust to come up with this, and the bark to come up with this, and the meadow to come up with the green one. Now look at the different shades that I've got. They're going to go perfectly with the base colors that made them. Oops, this is the rust. Oops, this is the brown. This is the rust. And all I did is I got all these different shades, and of course I could have made them lighter or darker, however I really wanted to, just by adding some bright white to it. So add as much as you want or as little as you want to lighten or darken or whatever you need to do. And you basically got multiple colors, multiple shades in the same color family. So I'm going to just continue waxing the rest of these surfaces and get them ready to go. That extra little step of prep really helps. If you make any mistakes, it's easier to clean them up because of the barrier, or if you do an oops, it helps with that. It also actually protects your transfer so that you don't lift up any paste on the adhesive portion of your transfer or anything like that. So especially when I'm using wood, I like to wax. If I've painted, or even if I've colored it with the chalk paste, either way I still use the wax on wood. And the smaller pumpkin, I use the bark, and I actually try to get a little wood grain look to it. I think I'm going to start with my largest, and I'm going to use the meadow green, and I know that I need to stir this up a little bit, and I might need to thin it down a little bit. It was a little thick, so I spritzed it with a little bit of water when I had scooped some out. So this is the good consistency. You want your paste to be between like a yogurt and a sour cream, and that's fine. And we'll get moving on this. You'll be amazed how quickly this can come together and how beautiful it is. So I'm going to start with a larger transfer. Now there is a little bit of an issue because I'm doing the other side of the pumpkin, and this would fit better on the jack-o'-lantern side. So I just won't do the top at the pumpkin stem. I'll leave that off. So I'm going to pull the transfer off of my backer sheet, put it on the terry side of my fuzzing cloth to deliberately apply a little lint to the transfer so that it doesn't stick as snugly as it would otherwise. And especially if you're applying to glass or metal or mirror or premium chalkboards, you probably want to fuzz it maybe 8 times or more, because it will stick very snugly to anything that is non-porous. So I've got that fuzzed. I want to make sure I have it lined up properly. A little off the bottom here. See if I'm still on the top. Oh, a little off the top. Let me bring it down just a smidge, and we'll check it out here. And when you lay down your transfer, you want to be sure that there aren't any air bubbles anywhere underneath the silk screen, because that will impact how the paste goes through. So I'm just smoothing this out. I think this looks good. I'm a little off the edge here, but I think I'll get just the trim there. So I'm pushing it down, and I'm not going to do the stem. So all I'm going to do is take a little squeegee, grab some of my chalk paste. Ooh, I grabbed a lot. A little really goes a long way. Apply it to the top of my transfer, and just push it through the silk screen using my squeegee. And this actually seems like it might be a little bit thick for me. I should have probably thinned it down just a hair more than I did. And I want to smooth it out. Ooh, just grab a little bit more. Remove any excess, and I could put any excess paste back in the jar. No sense in wasting it. Like I said, a little paste does go a long, long way here. Now you could also use multiple colors on here if you wanted. I've got that in mind for another project that's going to be a little bit of a surprise. But it's going to use the same transfers for something entirely different. So I want to make sure all the white, all the silk screen's covered. And covered well. Kind of got to watch those edges a little bit. I don't want to do my stem, so I'm going to be careful not to get my stem. Oops. I grab just a little bit of more paste and turn this around where I have a little bit better access and can see what I'm doing. It's easier for me to bring the paste towards me. So I want to make sure everything's smoothed out. Excess paste is off. Don't want any lines in there. And then I'm going to lift up the transfer and check it out. I'm going to pull it back slowly so that I can see if there's any issues. I didn't really go close enough here up at the top. So let me just grab a teeny bit of paste and just get that very, very edge. I didn't want to actually get like the leaves, but I wanted the line. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to pull it back slowly, so hopefully there's no issues. If so, this is the time to correct them. I have a little bit light right there, so I just went over it. And that looks pretty good. What do you think? How simple and easy was that? Now our paste does go on liquid, but will dry hard. So it'll take about 5 minutes for this paste to dry. So I'm just going to move this over to the side, kind of get it out of the way, and let it dry when I go on to the next one. Let me cap up my green. It does need a little bit more water. It's just a teensy bit thick. You can kind of get a feel for it when you're applying it. So I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of water, put the lid on it, and come back when I'm done and stir it up. And I always use distilled water so that if there's any issues or minerals or whatever in my, any minerals in my tap water, they don't interfere with the paste and change the color. Now this is the one that I painted with the bark paste, the brown. So I'm going to use the bark for the henna image. But like I said, just by adding that white and doing the background in a lighter shade, you can create multiple colors. Just adding the white or even black if you want to darken something, you could do that. Just want to make sure that I've got my top up there, just lining it up a little bit. The bottom's going to be off. It's going to be fine. Right there. Smooth it all down. Kind of see where my edges are. And I think that's good. Let me grab my bark and a clean squeegee here. Well, kind of a clean squeegee. It has a little bark on it probably from earlier. And I want to get right under that line. And again, it's the same thing. And wait until you see how I add a little bling to these henna pumpkins. Remember I said it's kind of like boho henna? Well, boho henna with a little bling. A lot easier than you'd think. I love quick and easy, don't you? It's one of the things I love about chalking. Between being able to take it off of the surface, erase the image, and reuse the surface over and over and over again. Use it as the seasons change or different occasions occur. And it being water soluble, and the beautiful designs and the transfers just took my breath away. First time I saw it, I was in total awe. And I was like, do I really understand that? I could erase that, or I could make a mistake and wash it and just redo it again. Oh my goodness, that's my kind of crafting. I don't have the steadiest hand, and it's like, really? I could make a mistake and come back and fix it? And make it again and fix it again? Oh, I like the bark. What do you think? A little dramatic, right? Let me put this aside to dry, and yes, I know I've gotten some paint on the edges, but I've got something in store for the edges. And once again, my stem's off. And I'm a little bit off on this just because of it being for the reverse side, but this is good. Right there. Now this has a lot, of open area, so I want to make sure I don't have an air bubble, and I do have one right there. I'm going to have a little bit of a problem, I think, with these edges, because there's nothing for this to really hold it in place. I'm going to just hold it with my fingers, I think, when I do it. We'll see what I can do. I'm a little off. It would be if I had done it on the reverse side. If I hadn't put the jack-o'-lanterns on the other side, I think it would be fine. So I created my own issue here. Oh, I could actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do from the top. Got to think about if I wanted to get that dot or not. There we go. I'm pulling this a little bit. Oh, I did get it. I could see that silk screen bubbling up there. Well, if worse comes to worse, if this doesn't turn out, I'll just paint over it and do it again. Sometimes things happen. I'm going to tug a little bit on the bottom here to hold it down. Well, I think that's pretty good. I'm not seeing any comments, so I do apologize if there's any comments out there. They're not showing up. Sometimes that happens with Facebook. Sometimes they're a little bit delayed. I'll turn this around and kind of hold this down as I do this side. And hold that a little snug. The adhesive is under the teal, so when I ran out of, or I had all just silk screen, there's nothing for that to really attach to, which is a little bit of my challenge right now. But if I had put it on the other side, the way this transfer was intended, it would fit better, and I wouldn't be running into this. But who said you have to do things the way they're supposed to be done, right? Isn't that part of the fun of crafting? Do it however you want. Find what you like, customize it how you want to customize it. Okay, I'm just removing the excess, smoothing out my lines, back in the jar. Okay, let's see if this worked or not. Pretty good. What do you think? I might come back on my stems and make my stems green, is what I'm thinking. So let me move this to the side to let it dry. And then let's talk about some bling, adding some bling. I need to clean my surface off a little bit though too, because I don't want to get anything on the back of my jack-o'-lanterns. And see how my green gourd is doing, if it's dry or not. Okay, I don't want to set it down on my surface because my surface is wet from me just cleaning it. But what I'm going to do, take my little tweezers here, and snag some of my bling stickers, appropriately named because of the bling. Now you obviously could add as much or as little as you would want to this. Depends on your taste. Oops. Oop, that's a little sticker overboard. It went flying somewhere. Like I said, I don't have the steadiest hand. This might be more of a challenge. I didn't realize these were rubber tipped. This might be more of a challenge for me than I anticipated. Here we go. All else fails, use your fingers. Oops. My paint isn't quite dry. I realized when I pushed it down. I don't know. I think that'll be enough bling to brighten it up. want to be careful that my adhesive doesn't pull off my paint, or my paste, I'm sorry. Obviously it's paste. What do you think? See how quick and easy this project is? I mean, basically 3 pumpkins relatively quickly. Obviously I painted the base coats before I started, but that was easy. Mom and I were just sitting here chit-chatting as I painted them, and then I just let them dry for a bit. Oops, need to pick that one up. Just scoot it on over where it belongs. Here we go. And press it in place. Press the other ones down. And obviously you could use as much or as little bling as you'd like to see. Whoops, did I drop that little baby? Yep, here it is. Whoops, dropped it again. Kind of on the edge there. There we go. I don't know. What do you think? Does it need a little bit more? Something to brighten up the bottom a little bit? I think the lighter greens look really nice on here. What was I going to do with this? I did have an idea and I forgot what it was already. Okay, let's see. I'm going to just continue adding my little adhesive stones for a little bling to my pumpkins. You can see how easy it is. Just basically place them, press them in place. And you could add as many or as little as you want. I'm actually working with 2 different colors of green on this pumpkin or gourd, the lighter and then the darker green. But you can customize it however you want. Quick and easy. What do you think? If you are not a member of my VIP group and would like to be privy to additional tutorials, tips, tricks, some games, and lots of other fun things, just drop me a comment saying VIP and I will send you the link to my VIP group. No obligation whatsoever. I'm going to continue and add some bling to the other pumpkins. I have a couple different colors and just kind of see how it goes. Let me close up my rust paste. Bad habit of mine. Always need to put the cap on or the lid on. So I will embellish these a little bit more, and then I'll come back tomorrow and show you what I do to the edges just to kick it up an extra little notch and add a special little feature to our blinged out Boho Henna Pumpkins. Thank you so much for watching. I surely do appreciate it. See you soon.